Unfortunately, sometimes you need to remind people. They forget the basics. In the mortgage world, we have been saying for multiple years now, if you like it, lock it. In addition to that, folks, I called for a refi boom last week, and it has already started. With refinances up 16%, how could I make that call and be right? Very simple. A lot of mortgage brokers are talking about streamlines. So we're going to talk about what the heck is a streamline, who needs to do it, how much does it cost, all kind of good stuff. Matt, the mortgage guy, if you like it, lock it. What happened?
I tried to warn people, right? Because as we all know, if we're paying attention to mortgage rates, Friday was a great day for mortgage rates. And so if rates got 3/8 better or 0.5% better on some rate sheets, when you talk to a buyer, you're like, great, let's lock you in at 6.1. Let's lock whatever the case may be. It's never enough, right? They always want a little bit more. And so some people unfortunately said, well, if it's gotten better, let's just wait, and I literally had somebody tell me, well, if it went from 6.6 to 6.1 for my scenario, it might be 5.625 next week. And not exactly how things work, but thankfully I had a couple scenarios. We locked people in. I didn't really have anybody talk me into gambling, which is what they're doing when they don't, you see something you like, the target comes into sight, you fire. But if people haven't looked, the chart that I looked at that showed, things getting worse on Monday and then worse on Tuesday, we're back to where we were last Thursday, August 1st, on the 30-year
It's like
fix.
the whole Bank of Japan thing never happened.
Right. Yeah. Like just J/K. We'll start over where we
Just
were
kidding.
middle of last week. And so, that's going to be true for especially in refinance. And one thing I want to remind everybody with all the news about refinance, yes, there's tons of opportunity. FHA streamline, VA streamline, those rates on the government loans are for a lot of people like sub 6%. So if you have
Wow.
a 6.75, a 7%, especially if people I talk to in California, Mike, don't think there's any hard and fast rule. It's got to go down by 1% or that. Just talk to someone who's going to give you honest advice. Because I'll look at a $700,000 loan and I'll say, well, 0.5% for you is $3,500 a year in interest savings. That's pert near $300 a month. If we can structure this in a way and that rate's available at little to no cost, and your total quote unquote cost, even if it's baked in, is $3,000, that's a 10-month break even. That's something you probably want to do. And so that's the vital part. And I'll say this on repeat, Mike. I'll probably say this for the next year. And you need to talk to people you like and trust. I had somebody reach out to me and I said, you know what? I think it's close. I don't think you're there yet. Hey, Matt, check this out. Look what I found. And he shows me a quote. And as I'm going through the quote, the payoff was not even close. Their guesstimates for prepaid taxes and insurance grossly underestimated. Like all kinds of wrong. And I don't always do this, but sometimes I log into my system and I go, who is this loan officer? What company are they from? This guy's from South Dakota, I think. Closed exactly one loan in California in the last year. So I told the borrower, I said, he might just not know what he doesn't know. That's me trying to give somebody the benefit of the doubt. More often than not, these call center people, or in this case, it was like he went to Bankrate. And so he's getting the most aggressive, hardest salesman you can find by going to Bankrate. They'll make it look as good as possible, get you rolling. You've ordered an appraisal. You're 2 weeks in. Oh, you know what? We got to collect 7 months of property taxes. Don't mind that extra $3,000. Oh, the payoff I had as 358, the guy owes like 359 plus whatever unpaid interest. The payoff's going to be over 360, and he's got 358 on the sheet. So these numbers are going to move, and you're going to be stuck 2 or 3 weeks into process. The problem is that guy's got unlimited leads he's paying for. He doesn't care about the relationship with you. When I talk to somebody, they've found me online. They like me. They trust me. I want them to have a great experience. I want them to refer their cousin. And so a relationship-based lender who's got a good reputation, versus somebody who's paying for leads, and as long as they pay, they'll have an unlimited supply, you're going to get a different presentation. And quite honestly, you're a lot more likely to get lied to by
Yeah.
talking to these people that are trying to sell you.
Yeah. I think there's a couple of things that, again, sometimes you just got to be reminded. If you like it, lock it. Interest rates had a massive move that is now all gone. If you happen to be doing the work like we asked you to, hopefully you locked in. You got you. It was a half a point for some people, right? It's
Yeah.
like real money.
Right.
So hopefully people took action. Streamline still can work, although they worked a lot better when rates were half a point lower.
Right.
But they still can work. I just think people need to reach out and say, "Hey, here's my scenario. Can you help me?" So if somebody wanted to reach out to you and say, "Hey, just curious, can you help?" Where do we send them?
If you go to greatmortgagebroker.com, let us know where you're at. I'm going to, contact you within 24 hours. We'll connect you with somebody in 48 states. If you're in California, feel free to just send me an email, matt@mtmg.com. Really easy one to remember. Here's my scenario. Here's what I'm looking to do. When somebody contacts us for a refi, I did 200 million in refinances just in 20 and 21. It's copy of your latest mortgage statement. What are your goals? And what's your guesstimate of your credit score? Because with that, I can put together something, and my sheet that I've been using for years now has that break even built into it. Because
Nice.
this is another thing I'm going to say on repeat to people, Mike. There's no mortgage charities that exist in 2024. There's no title companies that are set up as charities. It costs, whether you pay out of pocket, whether it rolls into your loan, whether you take a higher rate and that rebate pays for it. No such thing as a free refinance. The cost is somewhere. So you just have to figure out, here's the cost, here's the benefit.
Yep.
How many months is it going to take me to break even? And another thing that I think we're going to see is an opportunity over the next 2 or 3 years where some people might go 7,125 to 6.25 to 5,375.
Mhm.
And if it's a 9-month break even and you're going to save $325, do that first refinance. And then if rates don't come down, you're good. If they do, and the next one that makes sense from a break-even analysis standpoint comes up, then you do that one too. Like that was something that I don't know how many people, probably at least 30 or 40, where we had it from 2019 to 2021, a couple refinances that both made sense. They both were refinances where I talked to the consumer. I said, if I were you, I would do this. And trust me, there's a lot of people that are glad they did, because like we're living in now, we're living in a time where people are like, oh, it got better. It'll only just continue to get better. I'll just wait and it'll always get better. You never know.
You never know. Folks, at the end of the day, work with a professional that will understand your story, your situation. He'll tell you no when it doesn't work. Matt,
A
the
lot of
mortgage
no's.
guy, a lot of
A
no's.
lot of no's, a lot of waits. I've literally got a column in my CRM that says refinance waiting, because they're waiting not for rates to get to 599 or 6125 with any old cost. We need to get that at par. And so for them, 737 credit score, for it to make sense, that's got to be a rate that doesn't cost anything. If you call somebody who's in a call center who's trying to sell you, they're going to tell you it's time. It works. And
It's
so
always time.
I've got unlimited alerts set where I can reprice these things, twice a week. Katie, you're not ready. John, green light, let's go. One last thing I want to talk about, because I think it's important, Mike. A lot of comments, and this is, talking about purchase business and the real estate market as a whole. People are struggling. Like, I don't care what jobs reports say and what these different things say from like a spreadsheets perspective. Like, I know the average consumer is not doing great. And I continue to get these reminders of it. One of my latest videos, I can't remember, it was like, rates are down, take a look at your scenario. And people are like, that doesn't mean anything to me. Prices are still here. Even with a 0.5% better, I can't buy a house. I was walking the halls of my office building, and there's a CPA that also gets to see people financially naked. And he said the same thing. And so I guess my message to people is, you're not alone. And I truly don't know what the answer is. But here's something I thought about, Mike, because you know me, I'm an optimistic dude. And I still know that I'm talking to people. There's 4 million plus people buying. My question to you and the universe and everybody is, how much room is there in real estate? Because if rates come down, demand comes back, things will, there's going to be more action happening and prices. But like, how much can the average consumer take before it's completely out of reach? I don't know. I just had that on my mind. Thought I'd share.
Yeah, it's certainly tough out there. I think really what we're going through is I think it's a rolling recession. I think there's different parts of the economy that have already been in a recession. Actually, maybe coming out. Mortgage is a great example of that, right? I think mortgage has been in a recession for 18 months, maybe 24 months. Maybe now with this little refi boom, that industry feels a little bit better. Real estate transactions probably still got 6 more months. Manufacturing's in a recession. Tech had its little mini bubble. Maybe there's an AI recession. I don't know. I think that's what the consumers are feeling is the last major recessions we had were all kind of all off a cliff at the same time. So we all felt bad at the same time. And then we built out from there. A rolling recession means different industries and people feel it at different times. And it just feels long and drawn out. So yeah, it's tough out there for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I guess time will tell, but it's something that, I'm not all sunshine, rainbows, and optimism when people are in my comments that they think I'm just oblivious and gung ho, real estate to the moon. Not the case, because I have the conversations every day, and I realize that it's tough for a lot of people, but you might be right. One day I talked to somebody and, paycheck to paycheck and how am I going to ever afford to buy a house? And the next day it's, now I'm making 600,000 a year plus,
Yeah.
restricted stock units as a senior engineer. Life seems
Yeah.
pretty good.
There you go. All righty, buddy. One more time. Where can they go if they want to start a streamline?
Greatmortgagebroker.com. We're happy to help. The most important part is just get together with a broker you like and trust. Look at a scenario, look at break even, make a decision. If the target appears, fire. If it's not there, get with a broker who's going to tell you when the target comes into sight. I'm going to let you know.
There you go. You're amazing, man. Thanks again.
All right. Thanks, Mike.